All right, welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. We're diving into the world installment payment agreements today. Installment payment agreements. You guys have sent us some really fascinating stuff.
Yes.
And we're going to break it down for you,
Yeah,
highlight the most important points,
absolutely.
and make sure that you walk away from this deep dive
Yes.
with a very clear understanding of installment payment agreements.
I think it's a topic a lot of people could benefit from learning more about.
Absolutely.
Because they're all over the place.
They really are. We see installment payments everywhere.
Yeah.
Before we get into all the details, though,
Okay.
what is an installment payment agreement? Like, really? If you had to explain it to somebody who maybe didn't quite get it.
In a nutshell,
Yeah.
it's an agreement that allows you to pay for something over time rather than all at once.
Okay.
So it's like a structured plan that outlines how much you're going to pay, when you're going to pay, and for how long.
Okay, so like instead of just like handing somebody a wad of cash,
Exactly.
you can say, hey, I can pay you over time.
Yeah.
Okay, so why is that so important? Why not just like shake hands and say, okay, I'll pay you back later?
That's a good question. I think it's all about security. A handshake might work for borrowing like a lawnmower from your neighbor.
Right.
But when it comes to more significant purchases or debts, like buying a car, a house, or even getting a loan for education, you need something more formal. You need something legally binding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To protect both the buyer and the seller.
Totally. So it's like a safety net for everybody involved in the transaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics then.
Right.
What are the core elements that make up these agreements?
So there are a few key ingredients that are typically included in these agreements. The first one, and probably the most important one, is the payment schedule. This is the backbone of the agreement, and it outlines when each payment is due, the amount of each payment, and the duration of the agreement.
Okay, so that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
What else do we need to think about?
So you might also come across interest rates. This is essentially the cost of borrowing money over time. Think of it as a trade-off for the convenience of spreading out your payments.
Okay, yeah, interest rates.
Yeah.
That's something that I definitely want to understand better.
For sure.
But maybe we could do a whole other deep dive.
A whole nother one.
Yeah, a whole nother one on just interest rates.
Yeah, exactly.
But for today,
Keeping it simple.
yeah, we'll keep it simple. What else should we know?
There are also things like late payment penalties.
Oh, yeah.
These are super important because they outline the consequences of missing a payment. And lastly, you'll find termination clauses. These specify under what conditions either party can end the agreement.
Right. So these agreements really are quite detailed.
They are.
Trying to cover all the bases.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier how installment payment agreements can really open doors.
Yes.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think for buyers, installment payments make big purchases more manageable. A lot of people don't have thousands of dollars laying around to buy a car.
Totally.
Or even hundreds of dollars for a new phone.
Right.
So by breaking down the cost into smaller payments, people can afford things that would otherwise be out of reach. It gives them more purchasing power, and it can even help them build their credit.
Okay, I see. So it's all about making things more accessible for buyers.
Exactly.
But what about the sellers? How do installment payments benefit them?
Well, simply put, it can lead to more sales.
Okay.
By offering installment plans, sellers can attract a wider range of customers who might not be able to afford to pay the full price up front.
Makes sense.
It opens up their business to a whole new market.
Right. So it seems like these agreements are a win-win for both sides.
Exactly.
But drafting these agreements can be really daunting.
It can be really complex.
Especially for those of us who
aren't lawyers.
Who are not legal experts. Yeah. So how do we make sure that these agreements are solid? That they're protecting our interests?
That's a really important point. In the past, it often involved hiring expensive lawyers.
Yeah.
And tons of paperwork.
All the paperwork.
But the good news is technology is changing that. We have amazing tools now, like Legitt AI, that can generate these agreements in a matter of seconds, ensuring they are clear, compliant, and legally sound across different states, countries even.
Wow, so it's more than just about the speed.
Absolutely.
It's about having that peace of mind.
Exactly.
Knowing that you've got a legally sound document without needing a law degree.
Exactly. I think another benefit of these tools is that they really help to eliminate any ambiguity.
Okay.
So every term is crystal clear.
Oh, that's important.
And that really helps minimize the risk of disputes or misunderstandings down the line.
Absolutely. So Installment payment agreements might seem a bit complex
Yeah,
at first,
they can be.
but understanding those key elements that we talked about
Right.
and using the right tools
Yeah.
can really make the process
For sure.
so much smoother
Yeah.
and protect everybody involved.
Definitely. And as you reflect on what we've discussed today, I'd like you to consider how a clear, legally sound installment payment agreement could potentially benefit you, whether that's in your personal life or
Yeah.
your professional life. What opportunities could it unlock for you?
That is a great question to think about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive
It was my pleasure.
into the world of installment payment agreements. We'll catch you next time for another
Another dive.
fascinating exploration.
Sounds good.
All right, see ya.
Bye.